Imagine a room. It is not a large room. It looks like a standard physics laboratory. There are whiteboards covered in equations. There are stainless steel machines humming in the background. There are coils of wire and screens flashing with data. In the center of the room, there is a device. It is not very big. It is about the size of a washing machine. And on that device, there is a button. Now imagine a scientist standing in front of that button. He is just a normal man. He has a mortgage. He worries about his cholesterol. He had coffee for breakfast. He is tired. He reaches out his hand. He hovers his finger over the button. If he presses it, nothing dramatic will happen in the room. There will be no explosion. The building will not collapse. The lights might flicker for a microsecond, but that is all. But inside the machine, something impossible will happen. He will have created a universe. I don't mean a simulation. I don't mean a hologram. I mean a real, physical, expanding universe with its own space, its own time, its own matter, and eventually, its own life. And by pressing that button, that tired man with the high cholesterol becomes the greatest criminal in the history of existence. He has just committed a crime so vast, so violent, and so cruel that we don't even have a word for it yet. Today, we are going to talk about the most dangerous idea in theoretical physics. We are not talking about nuclear war. We are not talking about black holes swallowing the Earth. We are talking about artificial cosmogenesis, the ability to create a universe in a lab. Science says it is possible. In fact, science says it might be shockingly easy. And if it is easy for us, then we have to ask the terrifying question: did someone do it to us? Let's start with the recipe. If you wanted to bake a cake, you need flour, sugar, and eggs. If you want to build a universe, what do you need? You might think you need a lot of stuff. After all, the universe is heavy. It contains hundreds of billions of galaxies. Each galaxy contains hundreds of billions of stars. It seems like you would need infinite energy to make something that big. But you would be wrong. According to the laws of inflation theory, the universe is the ultimate free lunch. Physics tells us that gravity has negative energy. Matter has positive energy. And in our universe, these two things seem to balance each other out perfectly. If you add up all the positive energy of the mass and all the negative energy of gravity, the total sum of the universe is 0. This means you don't need infinite energy to start a universe. You just need a seed. Alan Guth, the father of inflation theory, and Andrei Linde, a brilliant Russian-American physicist, have run the numbers. They calculated how much matter you would need to trigger the process of inflation, the rapid expansion that creates a cosmos. The answer is ridiculous. You need about 10 kilograms of matter. 10 kilograms. That is the weight of a medium-sized dog. That is the weight of 2 bowling balls. That is the weight of the groceries you carry into the house in one trip. If you can take that 10 kilograms of matter and compress it to a specific, insane density, squashing it down until it becomes a false vacuum, you can trigger a quantum tunneling event. It wouldn't explode into our laboratory. That would be bad for the scientist. Instead, due to the weird geometry of space-time, this little ball of energy would detach from our reality. Think of it like blowing a bubble. You have a main soap bubble. You blow a puff of air, and a little baby bubble forms on the side. Then, it pinches off and floats away. That baby universe would instantly disappear from our sight. It would slip into its own dimension. To us, it would look like a microscopic black hole that evaporates in a fraction of a second. But on the inside? On the inside of that bubble, the Big Bang is happening. Space is expanding faster than the speed of light. Matter is cooling. Stars are forming. Galaxies are spiraling. And billions of years later, on a small, wet rock orbiting a yellow star inside that bubble, a creature might look up at the sky and say, "Thank you, God, for creating this beautiful world." They would be praying to the guy in the lab coat, the guy who just wanted to see if the machine worked. This isn't science fiction. This is the math of general relativity and quantum mechanics combined. We don't have the technology to compress matter that tightly yet. we would need a particle accelerator the size of the solar system. But there is no law of physics that says it is impossible. It is just an engineering problem. So why did I call this a crime? Why is the man in the lab a criminal? Because of what happens after the Big Bang. When you create a universe using inflation, you don't just create a single, quiet timeline. Inflation is chaotic. It tends to go on forever. It creates a multiverse. This means that inside your test tube universe, you are triggering the creation of infinite worlds, infinite variations. And this leads us to the argument from infinite suffering. If you create a universe that is capable of producing life, you are mathematically guaranteeing that you are creating pain. Think about our own history. Think about the wars. Think about the plagues. Think about every child that has ever died of cancer. Think about every animal that has been eaten alive by a predator. Life is beautiful, yes, but life is also a meat grinder. Now multiply that by infinity. If the scientist presses that button, he is responsible for every single tear shed in that new reality. He is the architect of every torture chamber. He is the author of every genocide. And because of the nature of the multiverse, where every possibility is played out, he is guaranteeing that the worst possible things will happen. Somewhere in that new universe, there is a version of Earth where the Holocaust never ended. Somewhere, there is a world where a plague wipes out humanity slowly and painfully over 1,000 years. By pressing the button, he isn't just watching it happen, he is making it happen. And he is doing it without the consent of the people inside. He is forcing quadrillions of sentient beings into existence, forcing them to endure the struggle of life and the terror of death, just because he was curious about physics. Andre Linde and other physicists have actually discussed this. They have asked, is it moral to be a creator? If you knew for a fact that your creation would result in the suffering of billions of innocents, would you still press the button? Most people would say no. Most people would say that is evil. But look around you. Look at this world. Look at the news. Look at the history books. Someone pressed the button. This brings us to the most chilling part of the research. If creating a universe is possible, and if physics allows it to be done with a relatively small amount of matter, then it is highly probable that our universe was created in a lab. We might be a science experiment. And if we are an experiment, did the creator leave a note? In 2006, two physicists named Stephen Su and Anthony Z published a paper with a very provocative title, Message in the Sky. They asked a simple question. If a creator wanted to send a message to the intelligent life forms in his universe, where would he put it? You wouldn't write it in a holy book. Paper rots, languages die, religions fight each other. You need something universal, something that lasts forever, something that every civilization, no matter where they live in the galaxy, will eventually see. There is only one billboard big enough, the Cosmic Microwave Background Radiation, CMB. The CMB is the afterglow of the Big Bang. It is the oldest light in the universe. It is everywhere, in every direction. If you turn on an old television to a static channel, about 1% of that static is the CMB. You are literally watching the Big Bang. Shu and Z argued that a creator could fine-tune the initial explosion. They could adjust the inflaton field, the energy field that drove the Big Bang, to encode a binary message in the temperature fluctuations of the universe. It would be like a watermark on a sheet of paper. So, what would the message say? Su and Z suggested it wouldn't be "Obey the 10 Commandments" or "I am the Lord." It would be math. It would be something like the Cartan matrix, a specific mathematical structure that describes the fundamental laws of reality. It would be a message saying, "Hello, I built this simulation. Here is the source code. Have fun." Astronomers have actually looked for this. We have mapped the cosmic microwave background with incredible precision using satellites like Planck and WMAP. We have analyzed the cold spots and the hot spots, and so far, we have found nothing. There is no binary code. There is no signature. The universe looks randomly generated. This leaves us with three possibilities. Option 1. There is no creator. We are a happy accident of quantum fluctuation. Option 2. The creator used a different encryption method. Maybe the message isn't in the sky. Maybe it's in our DNA. Maybe it's in the constants of physics, like the ratio of the electron mass to the proton mass. Or, option 3. The creator didn't leave a message because he doesn't care. Return to the image of the scientist in the lab. He presses the button. The bubble universe detaches. It disappears from his lab. To him, the experiment is over in a second. He writes down his results. Experiment successful. Cosmogenesis achieved. Turns off the lights and goes home to eat dinner. Meanwhile, inside the bubble, billions of years are passing. Civilizations are rising and falling. Wars are being fought. People are praying to him. They are building temples. They are burning sacrifices. They are begging him to save them from the plague, from the earthquake, from the cruelty of their lives. But he can't hear them. He isn't even in the same dimension anymore. He has moved on to other projects. Maybe he is working on a new experiment. Maybe he retired. Maybe he died. This is the terrifying implication of the lab universe theory. It solves the problem of evil. Theologians have struggled for thousands of years to explain why a good God allows bad things to happen. Why does God allow the innocent to suffer? The scientific answer might be, because God is a grad student who forgot about us. Or worse, maybe he didn't forget. Maybe he is watching. Imagine if we humans succeed in creating a universe. What is the first thing we would do? We would want to see what happens. We would want to study the evolution of life. We would be the gods, but we wouldn't be benevolent fathers. We would be scientists. And scientists don't interfere with the experiment. If a scientist is studying bacteria in a petri dish, and one bacterium starts killing the others, the scientist doesn't reach in and stop it. That would ruin the data. He watches, he takes notes, he observes the survival of the fittest. If our universe is a lab, then our suffering is just data points. Now, you might be thinking, this is all wild speculation. This isn't science. And you would be partially right. Sabine Hossenfelder, a theoretical physicist who specializes in the foundations of physics, calls these ideas ascientific. Scientific means you can test it. If I say, apples fall because of gravity, I can drop an apple and prove it. Unscientific means it contradicts the evidence. If I say, the Earth is flat, I can look at a photo from space and prove it is wrong. But ascientific is the gray zone. It is the zone where ideas are compatible with the laws of physics, but we cannot test them. Yet. We cannot step outside our universe to see the laboratory. We cannot see the umbilical cord that connected us to the Creator's machine. But that doesn't mean it isn't true. There are anomalies in our universe that make scientists uncomfortable. For example, why is the universe so perfectly tuned for life? If the strong nuclear force were slightly weaker, atoms wouldn't hold together. If gravity were slightly stronger, stars would burn out too fast. It looks calibrated. It looks like someone adjusted the dials on the machine until the settings were just right. And then there is the little red dots mystery. In 2025, the James Webb Space Telescope found supermassive black holes in the early universe that shouldn't exist. They are too big. They grew too fast. It's almost as if the timeline of our universe has glitches. It's almost as if the simulation loaded the heavy objects too early. Are these clues? Or are we just seeing faces in the clouds? Let's take this to its final, dizzying conclusion. If we are living in a universe created by a physicist in a lab, what happens when we figure out how to do it? We are getting close. We understand the theory. We are building bigger particle colliders. Eventually, humanity might have the power to compress those 10 kilograms of matter and press the button. We will become the gods. We will create a new universe with new galaxies and eventually new life forms. And those life forms will evolve. They will learn physics, they will build machines, and eventually, they will press the button. It's a chain. It's a nesting doll of universes going down forever. A creator creates a universe. That universe creates a universe.
That universe creates a universe. It's turtles all the way down. And if this chain exists, where are we in it? Are we at the top? Are we the base reality? Statistically, that is extremely unlikely. If there is one real universe and billions of created universes, the odds that we are the original one are 1 in a billion. We are almost certainly one of the children, or the grandchildren, or the great-great-grandchildren. We are a copy of a copy of a copy. And this brings us back to the crime. If we press the button, we continue the cycle of abuse. We inflict the burden of existence on a new reality. We pass the trauma down. But we also do something beautiful. We give life a way to escape the death of the universe. You see, our universe is dying. Slowly. The stars will burn out. The energy will fade. Eventually, the cosmos will become cold, dark, and empty. It's called the heat death. But if we can create a baby universe, we can plant a seed. We can create a lifeboat. Maybe we can't save ourselves. We are stuck on this sinking ship. But we can launch a raft. We can ensure that something continues rather than nothing. Is that a crime? Or is it the ultimate act of hope? Conclusion. The verdict. So, look at your hand. You are made of atoms. Those atoms were forged in stars. But the laws that govern those atoms, the specific, fine-tuned rules that allow you to exist, might be the result of a choice. A choice made by a stranger in a room, billions of years ago, in a place you can never visit. He pressed a button, and here you are. You are the result of his curiosity. You are the result of his ambition, and you are the victim of his negligence. But you are also the heir to his power. One day, the button will be in front of us, the blueprints will be ready, the machine will be humming, and we will have to decide. Do we have the right to play God? Do we have the right to create a world that includes pain, death, and suffering? Or is the only thing worse than suffering silence? If we don't press the button, the chain ends with us. The lights go out. The story ends. If you were in that room, if you had the power to spark a new Big Bang, would you do it? Would you commit the crime of creation? Or would you let the darkness win? The choice, eventually, will be ours.